Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to wrap up what I believe is the perfect wildlife photography setup. Last week we talked about the ProMediaGear TR424L. If you haven't seen that one, I'll link it up here. You definitely want to check it out. Today we're going to be talking about the ProMediaGear GK Katana Professional, and I know that's a lot of words, but I promise we'll break it all down. We're going to cover the entire thing, so we'll cover specs, build quality, who this head is really designed for, and then my overall impressions. Now, just for transparency, I did get this head completely for free in exchange for this video. I am not being paid to say anything. I am not going off a script. I don't have anything that I can't say. This is 100% my own opinions and how I feel about it. Now, just in case you didn't see my last video, my name is Josh. I am a wildlife photographer and videographer that shares all of my travels and all of my adventures here on YouTube. I just got back from a full week-long trip in South Dakota where I took photos of bison and coyotes and bighorn ram and all sorts of stuff. So I definitely put this head completely through its paces. Now, first, let's talk about specs. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big specs guy. I definitely care more about function than worrying about ounces and heights and stuff like that. But for those of you who that is important to, I will definitely cover it. So this is a true gimbal head that can hold a whopping 150 pounds. Now, I don't really know what you could put on this thing to really stress it out. It uses an Arca Swiss plate system, separate knobs for the pan and tilt, sealed ball bearings. It's just over 13 inches tall and weighs just about 5.5 pounds. Now let's talk about build quality. And the first two things that I thought the moment I held it was, one, this thing is absolutely built like a tank, and wow, it has a little bit of heft to it. Now, I definitely don't think weight is a negative in this instance. I was definitely going for the absolute most stable setup I could possibly get. Now, this entire thing is made out of aircraft grade aluminum, and if you watch my video on the tripod legs, you'll know that I have a past in CNC machining and a very keen eye for detail. Now, the machining and build quality are truly second to none. It is absolutely fantastic. It is nearly flawless. All of the materials that they used are absolute top quality. The ball bearings that they used is truly awe-inspiring. I have never used anything in my life that is so smooth and free, and it truly makes the lens feel completely weightless and easy to move around. I am so impressed with how well this is built. You'll notice on the photos in the video that this head is not pristine. I definitely did not baby this thing when I was gone. I shoved it into the dirt, I put it on the ground. I definitely wanted to put it completely through its paces. Now, obviously, I didn't use it to like hammer nails into wood. I used it exactly how a professional use it, and that is not babying it at all. It needs to be able to withstand the rigors of professional use, whether that's out in the field or going through airport security or something like that, and this is definitely up to the task. The knobs are super easy to use. They're oversized, they're easy to use even if you're wearing gloves. They have a rubberized feel to them, so they're very tactile, and the lock-in mechanisms definitely have a ton of play and fine-tune ability, so you can really fine-tune exactly how you want it to be. If you don't want it to be super loose and super free, you can just tighten it down just a little bit and create just a little bit of drag. Now, the big question is who is this head right for? And that is definitely seasoned professionals. Someone that needs to support a pretty heavy lens, whether that's a 500, 600, 800, something that has a lot of reach and a lot of heft to it, and someone that really needs it to be as strong and secure and as smooth as possible. Now, if you're just starting out, you probably don't need this one. This would be slightly overkill. ProMediaGear does make a smaller brother that might be really good for you. That would be the GK Junior. It's lighter, doesn't hold as much weight, but it's still absolutely beautiful and has really great movement. And then same as the legs, if you do a lot of travel on airlines and stuff like that, this also might not be the right one for you. But if you are someone that travels via plane, again, you might be better off getting the junior version of this. Now let's go over my overall impressions, and I'm actually going to give this to you in two different perspectives. The first perspective will be from a stills photographer, someone that's only focused on taking photos. maybe a really little bit of video, but your main focus is going to be photos. And then the second perspective will be someone that's main focus is video, that also might take a few photos. Now, as a stills photographer, I truly do not believe you could buy a gimbal head that's as good as this. This is the best gimbal head I've ever used. I cannot believe how smooth and ease of use it has. The ball bearings are absolutely amazing. It really feels weightless in your hand when you're moving it around. It does not feel like you're doing anything. I could move it with a single finger, a single little push, and it has tons of movement in it. The build quality is truly second to none. It is machined absolutely beautifully. I know that this will withstand anything that I put through it. Just the sheer thickness of all of the aluminum, there's almost nothing I could do to make this not function correctly. As a still photo photographer, I do not believe you could go wrong. I've used a lot of gimbals. My Gitzo had a gimbal head that was like a fluid head, and it doesn't even come close to the quality of this. I cannot believe how much better this is. I've used Wimberly in the past. I've used a bunch, and this blows them out of the water. Now, with all that being said, it does not mean that it is perfect. There is one small issue. I don't think it'll be a big issue for a lot of people. It's not a huge issue for me, but it is something that I realized, and that is when you're tightening down the knobs, the image will drift a little bit. So if you want to compose your image absolutely perfectly, and let's say you want to lock everything down because it's either a time lapse or a long exposure or something like that, you'll want to tighten the knobs. But when you do that, the image will slightly drift on your screen. Now, again, that's just from part of the locking mechanism that's pushing against the ball bearings, tightening it down. It's not the end of the world. Once you know that it's happening, you just accommodate for that by either moving it over slightly or moving it up slightly or whatever. It's not the end of the world, but it is an issue that I definitely saw. Now let's talk about it from a wildlife videography perspective. And I just want to preface this by saying this was never designed for video. This is not marketed for video. They don't recommend it for video. I just was hoping to find a head that could cover both bases. I wanted something that I could use for everything. I wanted a single head and never have to change it. And unfortunately, I don't think I found it. Now, my overall experience is very good. Even for video, it's good. It's just not absolutely perfect. Now with video, you want a really smooth panning action or a really smooth tilting action. And usually you would use what's called a fluid head, which creates drag as you move it. So your motion and your video is really nice and smooth through it. Now, obviously this is not a fluid head, but I was hoping that because there is so much range of motion within the locking mechanism, and I can kind of custom tune how much drag there is on it, I was hoping that I would be able to quickly get to that drag level and then create a really nice smooth movement. While it is possible, I definitely found it. The problem is every single time I move, I need to refine that exact position. So if I'm taking photos of something or taking video and I find that perfect movement, but then I want to move somewhere, I need to tighten down both knobs so that my gimbal and my lens isn't moving around as I walk. I get to my next position, I put it back down, and then I need to loosen it and then refine that perfect drag. Again, it's possible, it's not impossible, but the problem is how much time it takes to fiddle around and try and figure it out. Now, I will definitely be the very first person to tell you I was asking way too much of it. I was asking it to be something it was never designed to be. It's not its fault. What it is designed for is absolutely flawless, and there's nothing that you can buy that's better. But unfortunately, it's not the absolute perfect head for me. What I think I'm gonna end up having to do is get a fluid head for when I'm doing really heavy video work, and then use this when I'm doing photography or birds in flight or things like that. And I'll have to switch between them and pick which one is going to be best for me. Now, coming from my Gitzo head, that is technically marketed as a fluid head, and honestly, it never really worked out that well. The movements were never fluid, as you would say, as they should be. I definitely think the GK Katana Pro is definitely on par for video as that Gitzo fluid head is supposed to be. So I definitely don't think this is a step down for me. I do not think I'm sacrificing anything. I am definitely gaining a huge amount of motion and a huge amount of sturdiness. Now, overall, I'm extremely happy. And I think the real test is if I had to pay for this with my own money, would I keep it or would I return it? And my answer is definitely keep it. I would definitely not be returning it. Even if I only use it for still photography or birds in flight or things like that, it is still phenomenal. I would much rather have two heads, one that is so absolutely perfect for still photography, and then one that is perfect for videography. I don't think there's a head on the market that can do both. Now, if after watching that video, you said, I have to go out and I have to get me one of those, please go down to the link in the description and use the link. I am an affiliate, which means that I get a little bit of money every single time someone uses that link to purchase something from ProMediaGear. So it doesn't have to be this head. If you buy anything from ProMediaGear, like the GK Junior or the tripod legs or anything like that, I will get a really little bit of money, and that helps me go on more trips, make more videos, and go on more adventures. And I would really appreciate it. I really hope you guys liked it. I hope you found it informational, and I will see you guys next time.